Experience since morning, listening to all the generals who have now gone away probably for an afternoon siesta. Very inspiring. So I'm all pepped up to give a talk now this afternoon. So thank you all the 40s who have been part of the morning sessions.
Some are still here.
Some are still here and they're very welcome. Thank you. What I've done here is not anything Videshi. I have done all Swadeshi talk today so that we connect with it because we are all living in India. So, and these are things that are happening around us on every single day. So therefore, no Videshi content that Netherlands does this and Belgium does this, so we should do this on sustainability. Nothing of that sort at all. I think we should focus on our values, our systems, which are very, very strong, and also in terms of how we can, from very simple changes in our lives, look at sustainability in our daily living. So a simple sort of, if you ask me what is the message of these 18, 19 slides that I'm going to go over, is simplicity. That you have to live simply, okay? No talk on law, no UNDP, no UN goals, Sustainable Development Goals. I'm not here to give you any lesson on any of that. I'm here to talk about your and my life. So let me start because I have 19 minutes, I've already exhausted 1 minute. So let me start because that's why I've written a text so that I stick to my timing. I want to begin today not with a statistic, not a policy paper, but with a kitchen, your grandmother's kitchen. Close your eyes for a moment and picture it. The vessels were iron, brass, copper, not because copper was trendy on Instagram, but because our ancestors knew these metals infused minerals into the food and conducted heat efficiently using less fuel. The toothbrush was neem twig, antimicrobial, biodegradable, zero waste. Hair was washed with Rita and Chikakai, not bottled chemicals wrapped in plastic. Water was cooled in earthen matkas, no electricity, no refrigerating gases destroying the ozone layer. By the way, I must share with you what this photograph means. That's actually a vessel in my office from where me and all of my office staff drinks water. So you may find this, jet-setting lawyer, what are all these photographs? The photograph on the right is my lunch plate. It's a 120-year-old plate of actually my great-great-great-grandfather. And the two katoris are the Kansi katoris in which I eat my lunch. Okay, so that's from my ancestors, which I've inherited, and it's in use. I started using this 10-15 years ago when I discovered this in one of the attics in my home. Our grandparents ate what grew around them. The sabzi came from the backyard or the local farmer. The dal was from a field next door. Nobody was importing quinoa from Peru or avocados from Mexico. Food was seasonal, local, and fresh. And because there was no long-distance transportation involved, the carbon footprint of a meal was practically zero. Today, your salad has traveled more than most of you have this afternoon.
Absolutely.
Nothing was wasted. Everything was circular. The shopping bag was a cloth. That's why I use a cloth bag. Even to my court, I take a cloth bag. The plate was a banana leaf. The cup was a cooler, fired from local clay, used once and returned to the soil it came from. And how did they get around? They walked, they cycled, they took the bus and the train. My grandfather walked 5 kilometers each way to the school and considered it normal. And today we have 2 kilometers, we drive 2 kilometers to the gym to walk on a treadmill. But here is the serious point underneath the humor. They were healthier for it, they ate less, moved more, consumed local, and wasted nothing. The word lifestyle disease did not exist in their vocabulary because their lifestyle was not the disease, it was the cure. Today, the world has a fashionable word for all of this. It's called sustainability. Our grandparents just called it life. Now, I'm not here to be nostalgic. I'm not going to tell you to abandon your smartphones or go live in a village. Although, given the amount of screen time some of us have, the village might be an improvement. But I am going to tell you what somewhere between the kitchen and the conference room, we made a series of trades: convenience for wisdom, speed for durability, plastic for clay, chemicals for compost, and the bill for all those trades has now arrived. Next slide. The bill has arrived. That's the title. Just 5 days ago, I think I'll let you absorb this a bit. Just 5 days ago, on the 11th of May, the Prime Minister, Narendra Modi, addressed the nation from Secunderabad. The context was the ongoing conflict in West Asia. Can I just go on to the next slide if you've seen this? Yeah. Let's go to the next slide. Now, next slide. Yeah. The context was ongoing conflict in West Asia and the threat to the Strait of Hormuz, through which a significant portion of world oil passes. India imports over 80% of its crude oil, and all its traditional supplies are from that region. PM's message was direct: conserve fuel, use public transport, adopt work from home, hold virtual meetings instead of traveling, promote electric vehicles. And I traveled in one today this morning. And in a striking appeal, avoid purchasing gold for weddings for 1 year. He even asked us to reduce our consumption of cooking oil because India imports nearly $20 billion worth of edible oil annually. Now I'm an advocate, so when PM says don't buy gold for wedding, I immediately think of matrimonial disputes this will solve. No gold, no fights over jewelry in the divorce court. Perhaps PM is secretly working on judicial reform as well. But seriously, this appeal is not panic, which most people have termed it as. During energy crisis in Japan, Germany, and across Europe, citizens voluntarily conserved electricity and fuel, and it was considered patriotic, responsible, a mark of civilizational maturity. PM's call is one that India's own history has answered many times before. And think about it from a purely practical standpoint. If we eat locally sourced food instead of imported fancy items, we save the fuel needed to transport them. If we walk short distances instead of driving or a cycle, and many of us we save fuel and our waistlines simultaneously. If we use public transport even twice a week, we collectively save millions of liters of fuel. PM is essentially asking us to do what our parents did naturally and what doctors have been begging us to do anyways. But I want to take this further. Conservation is the first step. What India truly needs and what many Indians are already building is transformation. Not just using less of the old, but building something fundamentally new. And the extraordinary thing is, the solutions are not coming from some distant laboratory. They're coming from our temples, our villages, our rooftops, our soil, and our ancient knowledge system. Let me take you on that journey. Next slide, please. The soil beneath your feet. Every story of sustainability must begin with soil. Not energy, not technology, soil. If it were where life begins, yet the United Nations estimates that 90% of Earth's topsoil faces degradation by 2050. In India, 2/3 of the soil has already lost significant fertility. We are standing on an invisible emergency. Earth Day 2026 report reveals a remarkable finding. Restoring soil organic matter could cool the planet 3 times more effectively than greenhouse gas emissions warming. The most powerful climate technology is not a machine, but first 12 inches of ground we walk on. But destruction is not the only story. In Maharashtra, a farmer named Subhash Palekar, as I told you earlier, I'm only going to quote Indian examples, wanted his yields decline, saw his yields decline year on year despite pouring money into chemical fertilizers. So did something radical. Subhash Palekar pioneered a solution through zero budget natural farming, a chemical-free method that believes in growing crops in tune with nature. By using indigenous seeds and biostimulants like Jivamrit, a fermented microbial culture of cow dung and urine, ZBNF restores soil fertility and protects against pathogens. Today, millions of farmers are utilizing the system to reduce debt and improve yields. This is a revolution rooted in our oldest knowledge. Let me just go back. I didn't ask you to go ahead. You can skip this slide and go to the next one. So here we are, and then next, you're going back. I want you to go forward. Okay, next. In 2003, Sikkim turned this grassroots wisdom into state policy, becoming the world's first 100% organic state. It didn't happen in one day. It took them 13 years. By 2016, Sikkim became the world's first 100% organic state. All 76,000 hectares of farmland certified organic, benefiting over 66,000 farming families. The result went far beyond agriculture. Soil health improved, water resources became cleaner, biodiversity returned, tourism surged by over 50% between 2014 and 2017 as visitors came to experience organic homestays and famous Temi tea estate. You know, Vivek, I looked at all the topics that you have picked up today, and I have picked up elements from all of them to share it with you in this keynote address. Then in 2018, Sikkim won the UNFAO's Future Policy Gold Award, the Oscar for Best Policies in Sustainable Agriculture. Following the success at BioFact 2026, India was named the Country of the Year for organic agriculture, a recognition that Sikkim helped make possible. Sikkim's journey reflects the philosophy of our former Chief Minister from Sikkim, Pawan Chamling. We have not inherited this earth from our forefathers, but we have borrowed it from our future generations. To safeguard this future, the government actively supports this transition through schemes like Param Baragat Krishi Vikas Yojana, PKVY, providing financial incentives. Let me now shift to the next topic. From soil, let us move to trees, because if soil is the foundation, forests are the lungs. In 1970s, Japan, a botanist named Akira Miyawaki developed a method of ultra-dense planting, dozens of native species packed tightly together that produces forests growing 10 times faster than conventional plantation. A single hectare of mature Miyawaki forest sequesters up to 50 tons of carbon per year, supports over 300 species, and cools surrounding area by 2 to 3 degrees Celsius. Now here is where the story gets beautiful. In Rajkot, Gujarat, there is a place called Nakarwadi, a garbage dumping ground, a place people avoided. Today it is thriving urban forest with 2.35 lakh trees. In Kerala, a businessman transformed an abandoned laterite mine into dense bamboo and Miyawaki forest. In Indore, already India's cleanest city, municipal corporation is building 100 Ahilya city forests across district. And Bhutan, and I'm personal witness to this, a country smaller than Himachal Pradesh, became the world's first carbon negative nation. Their constitution mandates that 60% of the country remains forested forever. Volunteers once set a world record planting 49,672 trees in a single hour. A garbage dump became a forest, a mine became an ecosystem, a tiny mountain kingdom became the greenest nation on earth. Next slide. Okay, this was a small little effort. I remember Vivek we were discussant on the release of my book 2 years back in the city, beautiful, and we had put a small exhibition. So before that book of 800 pages was published on climate change, I actually 2 years prior to that laid this forest of 1100 trees, Miyawaki forest, so that I could sequester the printing of that book, the carbon emissions that it would create. So I think it's about individual action, what I'm talking about, living simply and doing things simply. Next. Now let me talk about something that applies to every single person in this room, including me, which is food. Our grandparents lived by a philosophy of balance. Ayurveda suggests filling stomach just 1/3 with food, mirroring the Japanese Harahaki Bu principle of eating until 80% full, a cornerstone of Okinawan longevity. And then there is our generation. We eat until we need to loosen our belt and then order a dessert. Today, our overeating produces metabolic food waste with massive carbon, water and land footprint. This access generates millions of tons of unnecessary greenhouse gas emissions annually. Portion control is an environmental strategy. Your diet is a climate policy. Next. Instead of chasing Amazonian superfoods, we should return to local wisdom of amla, haldi and methi. Eating seasonal, local and only what the body requires is a sustainable path our ancestors walked. Every bite beyond our need is not just a personal health burden, but waste the planet can no longer afford. We must remember that waste doesn't simply disappear, it actually accumulates, and your Dadu Majra is an example here. Next. Indore, a city of nearly 3 million people, has achieved 100% door-to-door waste collection, 100% segregation, and processes 95% of its waste sustainably. Through, just give me 3 minutes, I am aware of the time. Waste to energy plants, this is citizen discipline in action. And then there is Chandigarh, our beautiful planned city, the city beautiful. The Chandigarh Times recently exposed a Dadu Majra dumping ground, where municipal corporation falsely claimed legacy waste had become harmless biosoil. High Court inspections revealed plastic and debris instead. Consequently, the court ordered all clearance by May 26th, probably later on this month, invoking the polluter pays principle. I think I'll skip the rest and come towards the final section of my speech. Next. So these are what I wanted to show this in this presentation. Twice a year, see, there are organizations which are doing this work across the country. In Sikkim, I was with the president of this organization yesterday, and I was talking to him. He says twice a year, what we do is which is one is 23rd September, and one is sometime in July before the monsoon starts. The entire 14,000 volunteers of this organization scout around the whole state to look for plastic. People like you and me who travel there and who just sort of throw things out of our windows, They actually go and collect all this stuff. This is their service to the nature. I happened to be in Bhutan a few years back, and Bhutan, one Sunday every month, I thought the Prince of Wales was actually traveling to Bhutan coincidentally at the time that I was traveling with my wife. And I thought all these people are standing there to see him, the future king of England. I didn't realize, I asked my driver, why are these people standing here? He says, sir, they are out here to collect whatever, even small paper that they see on the road. They're here to collect that. So zero waste, they want to keep their country clean. I think the topic which was picked up this morning as well, there's so much garbage on tourism, the point that somebody made on tourism. Next. Let me bring you to Rajasthan's Aravalli Hills. By the way, I'm a amicus to Supreme Court in the Aravalli matter, so this is very close to my heart. Let me bring you to Rajasthan. The Brahma Kumaris operate world's largest solar kitchen, serving 50,000 meals daily without gas or electricity. Since 1997, 1,200 reflectors have generated steam to cook rice in 12 minutes, saving 2 lakh kg of LPG annually. This model inspired massive solar kitchens at Shirdi and Tirupati. I think we'll go to the next slide. Clothing. The fashion industry emits more greenhouse gases than international flights and shipping combined. Yet the average garment is worn just 7 times. We have wardrobes full of clothes and nothing to wear, right? Which, if you think about it, is the most unsustainable sentence in the English language. India's original alternative is khadi, hand-spun and zero carbon. Gandhi used it for political freedom. Today, choosing khadi or local handlooms is a fight for ecological freedom. Every time you choose quality over quantity, you make a climate decision. And housing, our ancestors mastered the climate responsive architecture long before invention of the AC. Rajasthani jali work and Gujarati wind tower provided zero energy cooling, natural cooling, proving Vastu Shastra was environmental science, not superstition. Today, traditional materials are making a powerful comeback, especially bamboo, which grows rapidly, absorbs massive amount of CO2 and naturally resists earthquakes. Modern architects are finally discovering that traditional builders always knew. Can I just go to the next slide? So I'm sure you have heard about grandmothers lighting the world. They're called the solar mamas. They're now present across 96 countries. They're trained women across. So I'm just going to skip this and the next slide. I think I can skip this as well. Tell me, next. So I am now going to come to the final reading of my talk. So let me bring the story back where it all began. To kitchen, to cooler, to the neem twig and the matka and the handloom sari. We did not always live this way. Drowning in plastic, breathing poisoned air, wearing clothes designed to be thrown away, eating food grown in dead soil, overeating until our bodies became monuments to access. There was a time when India lived in partnership with earth, when waste was composted, not landfilled, when food was medicine, not commodity, when house breathed with wind, not against it, when fabric told the story of the hands that made it, when people walked, an act of walking was not called exercise, it was called going somewhere. The crisis of 2026, the oil shock, the climate emergency, the soil degradation is not punishment. It's a reminder, a loud, urgent, unmistakable reminder that the way we have been living is borrowed time. But the good news, and I have tried to show you this through every story today, is that India already has the answers. India does not need to copy anyone's sustainability model. We had the world's oldest one. It is time we brought it back. With modern tools, with modern scale, and ancient wisdom. Prime Minister has asked us to conserve. I would say the opportunity is larger than conservation. It is transformation. It is the chance to build an energy architecture, a food system, a way of living that is worthy of a nation India aspires to become. As I wrote in a recent paper on energy governance, energy is not merely a resource to be governed. It is a backbone of development, dignity, and the national resilience. The architecture we build today must be worthy of a nation we aspire to become. Let me leave you with one practical thought. You do not need to change everything tomorrow, but you can do one thing today. Eat a little less, walk a little more, choose local over imported, choose handloom over fast fashion, carry a cloth bag, compost your kitchen waste, put solar on your roof, plant a tree, demand accountability from your municipal corporation. Sustainability is not a grand gesture. It is a practical daily practice, and every single one of us in this room has the power to practice it every single day. This crisis will pass, but what we build in response, if we build it wisely, if we build it justly, and if we build with the memory of our grandmothers and the ambition of our nation, can last forever. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. That was such an eye-opener and a very powerful address. I would now request IAS Ms. Vinny Mahajan to please come and felicitate Mr. Chima.